Hey guys, insight number 2, we're in James chapter 2, but remember there never used to be chapter breaks, so actually this kind of starts in chapter 1 verse 27, so we're going to start there. And the question comes up like, what is religion? And that comes in later. He asks like the royal law, but he says, he says what pure religion is, but the question is, what is religion? If you were going to ask somebody what is religion, what would their answers be? Have a think on that. Because really, it can be boiled down to love God, love people. That's it. The end. That's it. Religion. Love God, love people. 2 great commandments. Everything else hangs off those, right? Jesus taught that. So James, again, reiterates this in a different way, but still there. So he says in verse 27, pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this. This is the definition of what pure religion is. To visit the fatherless and widows in their own affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. So how is that loving people and loving God? Well, you love God because you're unspotted from the world. You're trying to do your best to live as you can so that you can show your love to him, because that's how you show love to God and to Jesus Christ, is to do the best you can to live how they would have you live. To do those things daily and ask them, what is it you would have me do today? I always start my morning with that, even if it's a really quickly, like, because I've, woken up late and whatever, I'm just all like, okay, what is it today? Give me the lowdown, just hit me with it. And that will unfold during the day. It's hardly ever an answer straight away. It's just during the day, things will come up and I'm like, oh, this is one of those things. I'm on it. Got it. Cheers. If there's anything else or I'm missing something, let me know. Like that's the conversation that generally happens for me. But that was something I decided after I had cancer years ago, was like, I'm still here. And I went through a whole lot of pain. But I'm still here. So what is it you want me to do? If you want me here, what are you needing from me? Because I want to come home really badly. So if I'm still here, and my dear neighbour passed away at the same time from cancer, or shortly after I had it. And she got to go home, and I was mad. So, I was really asking this. Okay, if I'm still here, and you need me to be here, why? And tell me why, and let me get to it, because I want to come home. Because this life, hard, and I live daily in pain. So I'm still on that journey of like, I'm enjoying life a whole lot more, because I've been through a lot of stuff, and I've found joy in the journey, and like I said in the first insight, counsel or joy, I'm getting to there. I'm probably about 85, 90%, which is pretty high, really, I think, for a human being to be thinking that. It's pretty good. But still, there's some that's not. So I'm working on it, but yeah, that's what pure religion is. I'm trying to live that best life. So that's loving God and to love people, which is the second great commandment. So go and talk to the fatherless and the widowed and the afflictions, or anyone that's inflicted, go talk to them. And then in chapter 2, he goes on, continuing on this theme, of course, because I said there was never used to be chapter breaks. Verse 5, he says, hearken, my beloved brethren, hath not God chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith and heirs of the kingdom, which he hath promised to them that love him? So God chooses those who do these things and keep this royal law, which gets talked about down in verse 8. It says, if you fulfill the royal law, as in the first 2 great commandments that Jesus talked about, right? You shalt love thy God, Lord thy God with all thy heart, might, mind, and strength, and the same is like unto it, love thy neighbour as thyself. That's the royal law. That's it. Love God, love people, done. Everything else, just off those. And you think about it, and it really does lead back to one of those 2. If you really break it down, don't overcomplicate it, because the gospel's not overcomplicated. It goes back to one of those 2. It says, the royal law, according to the scripture, thou shalt love thy neighbour as thyself, ye will do well. If you can do that, you'll do well. If you can love thy neighbour, you'll do fine. And then it continues over to 9 and 10. 9, but if you have respect to persons, you commit sin and are convinced of the law of transgressors. So, like if you're listening to the world, if you respect persons rather than God, you're going to listen to the wrong information. So don't do that. And you can have respect for people, but have respect for people who listen to God. That's a better way to put it, I think. But for today's life, but that people then understood what he was saying there. And then in 10, for whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all. So he goes on to teach, like, you might not kill someone, but you can't say that you're loving God if you then commit adultery or something, or fornicate or something like that. You can't say then that you're loving God and blameless. Oh, but I didn't kill anybody, It's like, well, because the people use that a lot. Like, they used to use that a lot, and I haven't heard it so much these days, but there's probably a new one out there. But mostly it's turned these days in, oh, don't worry about it, nobody died. Right? But yet, what's in there that was an issue? And, okay, it's maybe not as bad as somebody dying or killing someone, but there's still things to work on. That's the point. So, at the end of chapter 1 there, excuse me, the end of chapter 1, religion is defined quite simply. Words that mean loving others and loving God. By endeavouring to keep unspotted from the world is loving God by action and choice. And 8 to 10 of chapter 2 calls this a royal law. Religion is often overcomplicated in definition, and while these are facets to practicing religious beliefs, there are facets to, these different things. Love God and love others is the defining royal law, the new law given by Christ. It is the basis of what we should base Christianity on. Even if you look at Buddhist religion, it pretty much comes down to that. Love others and be kind to everything. Like, it's a very holistic way of living. It's beautiful. But we could all do better at this. All of us. Like, no one is immune to this. We could all do better. And I put down here too that ambition determines your day. Like, what is your goal for the day? Because what your ambition is will determine your actions for the day. What's your focus? And while we all have very daily tasks, as Christians, our common focus is the royal law. So not all of us are going to go about every day like a missionary. Even missionaries don't go out every day as what you perceive a missionary to be. It looks very different everywhere you are and what you're doing and what comes your way. But what is your goal? What is your focus for that day? And you can have it very simple, to love God and love others. Simple as that. If that's your goal for the day, then whatever else that you need to do, and whatever other goals you have or demands you have, whatever job you have or family care or self-care, that's your ultimate is love God and love others. So that's what religion is. That's it. It's not overcomplicated, and people will put all these other things in it if you ask them to define it, and it can all be broken down as simply as that. So it's really quite lovely. There's a William Booth quote from Salvation Army that David and Gray shared, and don't miss this, and I will put that up, not on YouTube if you see that, but you can go look it up. It's what he wrote when he visited the King of England, King something, I don't know which one, a while ago, and it basically was about, his main purpose was the salvation of man, or the saving souls of men, and I think that's what I endeavour to do every day, whether even it's a 5-minute something I do in that day, or whether it's something that takes me 3 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours, something that can go parallel with everything else that I'm doing. But that was a beautiful thing that he put, and to really highlight that concept of what is your focus and what is your ambition, because that will determine your actions for that day, because of whatever that is. So think on that, and hang around for insight number 3. We're going to finish off with the rest of James 2, so I'll see you there.